Wow. I can't believe we're here.
Episode 19. Cheers.
So, I feel like let's just talk back about, being Black and being raised in the suburbs. But I think, there's different topics and directions we can go, but just kind of getting back to just like who we are at the core and kind of like where we are today with all that.
Period. The topic that inspired it all.
Literally. I guess let's talk about stereotypes. What would you say are some of the biggest stereotypes you've heard about Black kids that grew up in the suburbs?
I mean, the number one is definitely being whitewashed.
Yeah.
For sure. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we somehow don't have any sort of culture whatsoever. And that's really ignorant.
No, for sure. For sure. I think also like the talking proper.
Yes, of course.
What else is there? Acting like we never been to the hood or know what the hood is or what it looks like.
Yeah, or just anything that's of the culture.
True.
That we just won't know what it is. Now listen, clearly we learned from episode 1. There were some movies we haven't seen and things like that.
And we still haven't watched them.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, actually, no. I've been checking some off the list this year.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I love that for you.
Yes. This year, what have I watched? I watched New Jack City.
Okay.
I saw a lot of them I had only seen in bits and pieces. So I saw Menace to Society in full. What else did I watch in full? All of the Fridays, because I hadn't seen all of them in full. Dang, there was one more I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah, I've not been doing my homework this year on that.
Yes, I was forced on. Actually, it wasn't even this year. It was like Christmas. Yeah, Christmas Day. I was forced to watch New Jack City, which was actually pretty good. So
That's so funny. Because I feel like even now when I talk to my parents about like, they're like, what do you mean you haven't seen that? I'm like, you did not let me watch it growing up. Let's not play dumb. But you're grown now. I'm like, I still feel nervous watching these things. Like, you guys literally shelter me from watching that stuff.
yeah,
It's crazy.
I watched Boys in the Hood in full.
Oh.
Yes.
I thought you already had seen that one.
I had seen so many of these just not in full, like from when they would come on BET and stuff.
Well, period.
Yes, I'm slowly checking them all off the list.
Yeah. So my next question to you is, do you think that some people assume that Black suburban kids don't experience struggle, and why?
Yeah, because I think we automatically get the bougie label
Right.
when I think there's a different type of struggle growing up in predominantly white spaces and growing up without that feeling of acceptance from anyone, or blatant discrimination and racism that comes with constantly being the only or maybe one of 2 or 3 Black people in the room. And that's a different type of struggle.
No, for sure. Because I think a lot of it, it helps us navigate a lot of the rooms that we're in today. But it's like if we didn't have that growing up, I don't know. I don't even be able to like step foot in that type of room or even be around that. But yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think a lot of people feel like, I mean, you don't struggle like how? Like, you grew up in like this 2-story house and and all that. And it's like, that there's other struggles. Like, everyone has their struggles, at home and their upbringing.
Yeah.
So I always found that weird when people just think it's like peaches and cream all the time in a fairy tale. It's like, I don't think anyone has a fairy tale life.
No, it's just different.
Right.
Because we've talked about this before, but when it's like those developmental years when you're trying to learn about yourself and understand who you are, and you're not feeling accepted, or you're not around anyone that you can look up to that looks like you, or your friends maybe don't always look like you, and they literally cannot relate to certain things you're saying culturally, like, no, I don't wash my hair every day. And it's like,
oh my gosh, that used to start so many,
right.
So many, they're like, oh, what? I'm like, girl.
Right. And so now as adults, we can just brush that off, or it's like, okay, whatever, y'all don't get it. But when you're 8 years old, you feel like an outcast, literally, because you don't wash your hair every day.
Literally.
And that's a different type of struggle identity-wise that maybe you don't have to deal with when you're growing up with a whole bunch of peers that look like you.
Right. No, definitely. And I honestly totally forgot about that. I used to feel so like, that's the part that used to make me feel so crazy about my hair. Like, oh my God, like I don't wash my hair as much as them. And just thinking about that now, I'm like, PTSD, seriously.
Yeah, and no, I don't wash my hair every day, but I do shower every day.
Right.
That was another thing that was bizarre to me. Was
yeah,
like
different hygiene.
no,
for sure.
I didn't shower today because I showered yesterday. I'm going to shower again tomorrow. Huh? Why are you not showering every day?
Child, literally.
What do you mean?
No, definitely, yeah. Very different hygiene.
Or what do you mean you went in the pool so you don't need to take a shower?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally chlorine. It's like, huh?
No. Immediately no. That's so gross in hindsight. I really hope a lot of those people have different hygiene habits now that they're adults.
No, honestly, I think a lot of my non-Black friends, looking back, I'm like, y'all was low-key wilding in all aspects.
Child, that's why.
Oh my gosh.
Well, they say lice actually comes from hair being clean. See, maybe that's why they didn't need to be washing their hair every day, because that's why
they always had lice.
lice.
Yeah, I was like, dude, Black people. I mean, I know we get lice, but not like them.
No.
Like it was a thing. Like I was scared to use some brushes because I was like, they have lice, you know?
No. That's why it's like going to stores and stuff. Like, I'll still be afraid to just like try on a hat or anything like that because you never know.
No, seriously. So based on just like, those certain stereotypes of being just, a Black girl raised in the suburbs, how do you feel like that, those stereotypes have shaped the way you view yourself, or maybe how you used to view yourself?
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely used to. I don't know. That's so, there's many answers to that question. I used to have moments of being ashamed of speaking properly, honestly, because those comments now don't mean anything to me. But growing up, yeah, you can start to internalize the like, you're so white or whitewashed comments. And now I'm grateful that I am an articulate adult. But back then, yeah, that was hard. Or, even like being called bougie or things like that because I like to do things differently or whatever. I even remember in college, going to college in the Bronx, and some of my teammates grew up like in the New York City boroughs. And obviously we would have away games and we would stay in hotels, and I would like unpack all of like my bathroom toiletries, and like I put like a little towel down and like lay everything out. And like one of my teammates literally came in the room and was like, "You're so bougie." And I'm just like, and like even in college, like then I would like take it personal. Now I don't care because it's like, what? Yes, I like to keep my skin and body care routine while we travel. Like, excuse me for having eczema, and I want to use my Dove soap and, keep my routine consistent.
Yeah.
But it's just like dumb stuff like that I like could care less about now, but back then, because it honestly then like it feels like an attack for no reason. Like I'm literally minding my business. You walked into my room and are being nosy in my bathroom about my stuff.
No, that's
me
nuts.
Today would be like, mind your business.
Right.
But me then, like, yeah, it would, I don't want to say hurt my feelings, but it would just, I would take it personal.
Yeah.
And like in reality, it's like, this is so dumb. Shut the fuck up.
Right.
Like, mind your business.
Yeah, no, definitely. When I was younger, for sure, it affected me like tremendously, because it's kind of just like you really don't feel Black enough a lot of the times, right? And it's just kind of like, I grew up in a Black household, like we can't help where we come from, right? But I'm glad that now that I'm older, like I've embraced who I am, and I am who I am, and I show up as the woman that I am, and I come from where I come from. But it's like I can't change that. None of us can change where we come from, right? But yeah, it was definitely tough. And I feel like looking back, a lot of those comments or the stereotypes or the things I had in my mind came from other Black people. It wasn't like my white friends were saying this stuff to me.
Right.
Like it was really coming from like our people. And that made it feel just like, it hurt even more, but I just feel like that was just kind of them just kind of, that whole like reverse psychology thing, just trying to feel like, damn, why is she from, why does she get to live like this and I don't, or something like that. Like, I don't know. And I'm just like, I can't internalize that.
Honestly, and I agree with you that any comments that were ever made to me by a white person, the comments made from family or from other black people or black peers hurt 10 times more.
Yes.
Because it's like, why are you trying to isolate me?
Yeah.
You know, when white people do it, it's like, okay, makes sense. You're racist, ignorant, whatever. But like, why are you trying to isolate me?
Right.
And we, at the end of the day, are the same.
Come on.
So yeah, that's definitely 10 times hurtful. And did we tell you what happened at the rodeo?
So
did Bree tell you?
Yeah. I was like, no way.
That was...
No, I said no way.
I hate that happened because I feel like even though this is Texas, I haven't really experienced racism at all.
And that's what I told Bree. I said, I literally don't experience that type of stuff here.
It was
Houston.
It was crazy because it's maybe because Houston, it's still a blue dot in Texas and all of that. But that was actually my first time experiencing racism living here.
That's scary.
Yeah. And so we had nosebleed seats, so we were in the 600s, and we were maybe on level like 400, whatever. So I was like, and Jagged Edge had already came out, and me and Bree really wanted to hear Jagged Edge, and they were already on. We could hear them. So I was like, Bree, let's just take the stairs so we can hurry up and get to our section.
Yeah.
And so we're taking the stairs, and we go up to 500, and all of a sudden we're like, wait, where's 600? We keep going up, and all of a sudden we're at 700. And so we open up the door to the 700s, and this lady's like, oh, no, you guys just have to take the elevator down. So it's like, I don't know if it was a suite level, or it couldn't have been, because 700s wouldn't be suite level. I don't know what it was.
Right.
Some sort of private event. I don't know. But the lady at the door was like, you guys can go take that elevator over there down one floor. So we're walking to the elevator, and me and Bree were like actually trekking it up the stairs. So everyone was trailing behind us. And so it was just me and Bree at the time. And we're walking to the elevator, and this lady looks Bree up and down and goes, how did you get in here with that outfit on?
Yeah, that's...
And Bree looks so cute. She had like baggy low-rise jeans on, a little white crop top, and her cowboy hat. And Bree is...
a classy look.
Right. And for those, obviously, do not know, our friend Bree is a Pilates coach. So she is snatched... She looks great. Yes. She's not one of those people where you're questioning, should you really be wearing that crop top? No. Brie, of all people, she should be allowed to wear a crop top. And yeah, so she looks her up and down and goes, how did you get up here with that outfit? And we're like, what? Da-da-da-da-da. It turns into, I can wear what I want. And the lady goes, no, it's not your body, your choice. And Bree's like, it absolutely is my body, my choice. And at this point, we pre-gamed at my house. I had several drinks. So I was like, honestly, you wish your body looked like hers.
Period.
And the lady's husband is just standing there with his hands in his pocket and his little vest on, like not even stepping in to defend his wife.
Right, you better step up.
And she was like, no, I don't. And so then at that point, she's like, I'm getting security. Da-da-da. We're like, literally.
Security's crazy.
Yeah. All because she was mad at us literally minding our business.
Literally.
We didn't want to be on this floor. Whatever this floor was, I don't know what event, da-da-da was going on. We did not want to be there. Yeah. We wanted to get to our seats. The lady instructed us to take the elevator down. And then once everybody else caught up to us coming up the stairs, they said, oh, there's more of them? Of them. Yeah.
Them is crazy.
I know. I'm just like, I have not experienced this living here at all.
And I was telling Brie, I said, and it's crazy because it's not like everyone was black in the group.
No, we had
a diverse circle.
There was 6 of us and 2 people were white.
That's why I'm like, did you not see? That's what I was like, when they were telling the story, I was like, what?
Honestly, as we were walking out, I said to the lady that directed us to the elevator, I don't remember verbatim what I said. I said, how are you going to be racist at this black ass concert? It's Bun B and Friends. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what do you mean?
Right.
If anyone doesn't belong here, it's you. What are you doing here?
Right. But I didn't realize he has a big like cult following with the white people.
He does?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because I have one friend, like an older, like a family friend, and she's white, and she's obsessed with him. And she's like, me and my friends love him. I'm like, huh?
Okay.
Like, she's the type when she sees him out, she sends selfies every time she sees him.
Okay.
Like, she takes selfies with him. So I was like, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Okay. So basically, she was big mad because she couldn't wear a crop top.
Yep. To see her favorite rapper, probably. Her favorite, well, no, I'm not going to say that. Yeah, rapper. Or I don't know if he's, whatever he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate. And honestly, I think that's why I was even more hungover the next day, because I just drank even more after that, because it's not a good feeling. Like, we can laugh and whatever, and I can shade her and say that she wished her body looked like that, because she did. But it was not a good feeling to be like for her to be so demeaning.
Yeah.
And it's not like, we literally were minding our business, walking to the elevator, not bothering anybody. And how you have to be so bitter. How did you get up here dressed like that?
That is so ugly.
It was.
Ugh. Yeah, I couldn't believe that happened to them. Let's get into friendships and social circles. Have you ever felt a disconnect when hanging out with people who grew up outside of the suburbs? I would say, yeah. I think when I think of that, I think of just kind of certain stories or just situations or just like, you know, growing up, and there's certain things where you're just like, oh, wow, like they're saying something and you're like, I've actually never heard of that. I think a lot of the stuff, of course, is like a lot of these like movies, right? Mm-hmm. But there's certain things where it's like, also, but I didn't have siblings. So I think a lot of these stories and situations come from like siblings. It's like, oh, I also don't have siblings. So I don't know a lot of like how those situations go as well. So I think that's also one of my like dilemmas. But I think there's definitely been times where it's like I'm the only one in the group that's like, huh? Like I don't get it. And you know me, if I don't know something, you're gonna know I don't know it. I'm like, huh? So yeah.
You just made me think though about like the only child thing. Have you ever gotten the, oh, you're an only child, I can tell?
Yeah, when I was growing up, yes. Now that I'm older and, you know, I've evolved into a much better woman, not as much. But yes, when they were younger, I'm like, oh, I can tell.
But why?
I think because, you know, I was a little selfish, very me. I'm not sharing. I'm not giving. I think the way I would act, like if someone would say something like, well, why not? Why? Because I used to hate to hear the word no. And so I think people would notice that, or just maybe seeing the way I would. I've always been like, with my dad, I didn't really like try it. But with my mom, yeah, because she's so nice. She used to really let me slide a little bit. But yeah, for sure. And that used to piss me off too when people would say that type of stuff like, oh, I can tell. And it's like, what's that supposed to mean?
I agree. I guess, I don't know why I used to get it. Maybe because, I don't know, maybe subconsciously I don't like to hear no either. But like, I definitely used to get told no. Right. So right. I don't know. But like, who likes to hear no?
Right.
But I never had a problem sharing or anything like that. So, you know what it is? I think for me, why it's obvious to some people is because I think maybe I have a lower, like, I don't want to say lower tolerance or, like because when you're alone and you have your own space, like, I don't have a problem sharing, but I just like my things a certain way. So maybe that's what I give, honestly. Because even this past weekend, having like 4 of my friends come from out of town, so much fun, you know, but then I love them, but also happy for everybody to leave so I can get my space back clean and how I like it. And da-da-da-da. So yeah, that definitely gives only child. I guess.
For sure. Like, for sure. Like, when my friends do come here, and I have some that stay for some time, I'm like...
Not for some time.
I'm like, I love you, but I cannot wait for you to leave, too. Yeah.
And it's not personal. It's
it's
just
really not.
The enjoyment of being alone and having your space and your stuff how you like it. And
Right.
I can admit I'm probably unreasonably clean and unreasonably organized.
You really are.
For the average person. So I just let that go for the time that people are there.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make anybody feel uncomfortable
Right,
or like
right.
they can't touch anything or da-da-da. But then when they leave, it's like, oh, yes, I can't wait to get my stuff back exactly how I like it.
No, I get it. I know, I feel so bad. Everyone's like turning up like, shot o'clock. And you're over there like taking shots, but you're also like cleaning the dining room table. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, but it's not even like an annoyance thing.
No, it's not.
Like, it's actually really bad out of habit.
Yeah.
Like, I do stuff and don't even realize like that I'm doing it because it's just natural.
Yeah. But
for me at
honestly,
this
people
point.
say it's better to clean as you go than clean at the end. So like
Yeah.
when you do it, I don't blame you for it. It's less to do at the end.
Yeah, because if not, we would have came back to an even bigger mess.
Yeah.
And you know, thankfully, my friends will never be as clean as I am, but they also know me and they also just respect the space, period. So like I woke up the next morning and like basically the whole kitchen was clean and I was like, the dishwasher was going. I was like, oh, this is nice. I guess maybe like, you know, years of me having semi-bratty moments of me just getting annoyed at, they've caught on. So thanks, guys.
But I love, like, those are like real friendships because I feel like as friends, we all have those bratty moments and we know what each other's triggers are. So it's like, if I get to that point, just let me have my moment. Like, you know, I'm good. Or just, you know how I move. So it's like, don't feel some type of way. Just know how I am, please.
Yeah.
Like, and just please fix it. Like, please, you know me. Like, I love you. You love me. Please just fix it. That's all I ask.
And that's why, like, I love when, especially, like, those friends come and we get together because it's like, they know me. Sometimes I'm good. My social battery just gets low. Sometimes I just need a minute to lay down in silence. Nobody talk to me or whatever. And like Bree's the same way. We're all like, oh, where's Bree? It's like she's upstairs with her bonnet on. Like she's having, and then everyone's just like, okay, because we already know. It's like, everybody needs some people need their nap. Some people need to recharge. Some people can just go all day and they're good and they can talk all day and socially. No, it's like half of us are like that and half of us need to recharge the social battery.
No, literally.
Yeah.
Literally.
And so
that's
we've
an
had,
only child thing, for sure.
And so we've just like had, and Bree is an only child, ironically. I think she is. Is she?
I didn't, because I'm like,
I think she is.
Yeah, I've never heard her talk about
I'm
it.
about to text her. But no, I'm pretty sure Bree's an only child too.
I think she is.
It honestly makes sense why we all need our moments to just recharge.
Yeah. Please confirm that because I think she really is.
I'm about to text her. Yeah, and I think maybe a few years ago or when we were younger, it's like, oh, what do you mean you don't want to drink right now? Yeah. But like now we're grown and it's like, okay, no. She needs her 20 minutes and she'll be fine. So, yeah. I think one disconnect, I don't know, sometimes is like the shows that I watched growing up too, is like, I would watch all kinds of shows, but there are shows that like, I don't know if you ever watched like the Laguna Beaches or stuff like that. And like, I would have people in my family be like, why are you watching this white ass show?
Right.
You know?
They're watching Baldwin Hills.
But I watched both.
I
multifaceted.
Right.
I watched it all. Whereas like some people, it's like Laguna Beach, like, or what other shows were like Laguna Beach? I'm trying to think. Or like The Hills. Well, that was a spinoff. I don't know. It's just like stuff. Did you ever watch like all the old MTV throwbacks, like Room Raiders, Next?
Oh yeah,
Parental Control.
Yeah, I used to watch all those.
Same. I don't. Those were on MTV though, so I feel like those could go either way.
Right. And I used to love those.
Yeah. So, I don't know, because I feel like no matter how you grew up, I feel like everybody has their like select, you know, white people songs that they do like.
For sure, yeah. And lately, like now when we go out, you start to hear more of like those white, like iconic songs. Everyone was like, I don't care.
No, and playing in our like in the black clubs.
Yeah, I'm like, y'all is so cap.
Or just like, what is the one song for sure? Because of White Chicks, the Making My Way Downtown.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think it's because of White Chicks.
I definitely think,
truthfully.
that definitely is why. But it's interesting to see like now they'll randomly play those type of songs like in these type of bars and lounges now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all never wanted to do this before. It wasn't cool. Now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, you know this song?
Yeah. But it's
like,
also
please.
like certain artists though, like that the black community collectively loves, like Paramore. I don't know if you know any of their songs.
Absolutely. I used to love them.
Like everybody loves Haley. Like
yeah.
There's a handful of their songs that I like. But also another thing that now that I'm older, I've realized is a lot of like some of these white artists had black producers. So there's like an R&B feel to their music that you don't realize, i.e. the obvious one is Justin Timberlake with Timbaland.
Oh, for sure.
But then even like Jesse McCartney, there's a few of his songs that I really like. And when you actually look at the producers, they're black. Everybody's favorite Justin Bieber album, is it Portraits? I forget what it's called. That was his most like R&B feeling album. And even some of his early songs when like Usher was his mentor and all that. Like, it's funny, the way, our feel is there. You know
can
what I'm
always
saying?
tell.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Black culture is just contagious.
But I was excited, two things. One, when Justin Timberlake said he was coming out with a new album and Timbaland was producing it again. And then Justin Timberlake, what was that album called? I need to know. Oh, Journals. Did you ever listen to Journals?
I'm bad at album
Journals
names. What are the
has...
songs on there?
Have you ever heard Hold Tight? Oh, Heartbreaker.
Oh,
You're
yeah,
all
I've
that
heard-
matters to me. Yeah.
But I've definitely heard Hold Tight for sure. Sorry,
Hold Tight is like
that's
one
the
of my...
one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. That's a great one.
Journals by Justin Bieber. Yeah, so he came out and said that his next album is going to have more of that type of feel. So it's kind of funny, black culture, man.
It does it every time. Let's see what else I've got. How do friendships between kids that are raised in the suburbs versus kids that aren't change as you get older? I think of it as how like when we grow up, we base life off of like how things are in your households, right? But now that I feel like we're older, even though someone may come from like the suburbs versus like maybe a total different economic background, you guys now have more in common because maybe like we all date similar type of guys or maybe we work in similar careers. You know what I mean? So I feel like now that we're older as adults, we go through similar struggles. So we have more that we can kind of have more in common with versus when we kind of grow up, I felt like it was definitely a huger disconnect with other black people. But now that I'm older, I feel like we connect in other ways, whether it's through work, relationships, friendships, or even family dynamics now that we're older.
Yeah, because as you get older, like the dumb stuff, do you shower every day or whatever it is, is less of a topic, and everybody's life goals and career goals that you can start to connect on no matter how you grew up. So yeah, I could see that as you get older. I think in general, it's easier to connect with people. Yeah, as you start to have more of those like adult goals, or like I just even think about going to college where we had such an eclectic team. Like you had black girls that grew up in the suburbs, white girls that grew up in the suburbs, black girls that grew up, in New York City, different New York City boroughs, whatever. But like at the end of the day, we were all going to the same school. A lot of us in the same classes. We all have a common goal as far as basketball and trying to win. We all, and in that moment at the school and taking classes and being student athletes, have the same struggle.
Right.
So it just reminds me of that, where you can, how you grew up outside the school before you got to the school could be starkly different. But once you get there, we're all complaining about 6 a.m. practice and midterms, and we hate our coach, and we just lost. The goals are the same and the problems are the same, and I think it's the same as we get older, we all have bills to pay. We all have jobs. We're all trying to climb the corporate ladder or the entrepreneurship goals or whatever it is. And so we're all trying to buy homes or whatever. And everybody has the same struggles living in this damn country and this economy and whatever. So I think it's easier to connect as you get older and everybody's facing the same real life problems.
Yeah. No, literally. Exactly. So let's talk about, culture and identity. Were there moments that you felt maybe like you were missing out on Black culture growing up in the suburbs?
At that time? I don't know. Did you?
I don't think I did. I think because like my parents did a really good job of making sure I knew who my family members were. And so like, I was always at my grandparents' house or my, cousins or my uncle, aunt's houses. Mm-hmm. So it's like I experienced like everything. They never wanted me to be like separated from that. Like, this is literally where we come from. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I saw a lot of things, probably more than what I should have. But, I know where I come from, regardless of how people may assume that I am. So for me, I would say like, I
don't really think so either, because most of like, I would say 3rd through 12th grade, I was in a suburb in Massachusetts, but like we were only an hour and a half from my family in Connecticut. So we would go pretty often on weekends or whatever. So I was still around my family very often and having get-togethers and all of that. And regardless, was I going to go to my white ass school on Monday morning? But yeah, Sunday night, we're watching the BET Awards or whatever, so I wasn't, and could I go to school and have somebody to talk about it with? No. Right. But I was still, my at-home life was still that.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and getting back around my family is still that. So I don't think I really missed, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, it was just more so just like my parents wanted a quote unquote better life. So we moved to the suburbs.
Right.
But that was really the only change.
Right.
We still always have been very much involved with,
right.
the family stuff. So
same.
Yeah. Did you ever feel like when you were, speaking of family, did you ever feel like when you were visiting your other family members, did you ever feel as though you were out of place?
Not, other than like random comments here and there, not with my family, no. Just because a lot of the times, even though we might have been in driving distance, whatever, like, just because I've tended to live further away from my family, even to this day, now when I'm around my family, everybody's just happy to see me, quite frankly. Like, so I never felt anything but just like embraced.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it comes to like my family, I feel like I'm just like the neutral, like, not the neutral party, but I just feel like, I don't want to say everybody loves me, but it's more just like.
That's how I feel.
Yeah. like, it's just like, oh, Blake's here, like, da-da, so probably because I was just such a quiet kid.
Yeah. Or
whatever. So, yeah, I feel like when I get around my family, everyone's just happy I'm there. So, or it's like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in so long. Da-da. So, no, it's always like a welcoming situation.
Because I feel the same way. I think from the outside looking in, I would think, okay, my cousins or family members may treat me differently or think of me differently because obviously we have total different households and upbringings. But I commend my cousins and my family for always making me feel as though like we are very similar, but we also are very different, but they make me feel like I was different. Yeah. And if anything, they enjoyed coming to my house and kind of, I felt like you could tell that they enjoyed being at my house and getting to, I guess, experience just all my toys and stuff. And like my mom would be cooking. We would just have a good time. And like my house was the house where all my cousins would come to for the weekend.
Yeah.
And when I barely see them because I don't live in LA anymore, but when we do get together, they still bring up those memories. And I'm like, wow, like to know that's like a core memory for you of like when we would come to your house. I remember when we, yeah. And I'm like, wow, like for me, it's like, I love that type of stuff, but no, I'm the same way. I feel like I'm everyone's favorite. I mean, I don't think it. They tell me.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely my great-grandfather's favorite.
I'm like, because
Yeah.
it's like, we're non-confrontational. We have no beef.
Well, and you know what? As we've been talking about this, that's what it has made me think, though, because at the end of the day, I was a child. Now I'm an adult, but I was a child that was like chilling, quiet, minding my business. But I do think maybe as far as some of those comments or issues or even jealousy or whatever, I think maybe my mom got the brunt of that because she's the one that was putting in the work for us to have a better life, have a different life, be able to live differently. And I do think, not me, but I do think maybe my mom got some of those "you think you're better than" comments and stuff like that because she was the one kind of like, I don't want to say breaking generation. You know what I'm talking about though, like breaking those barriers. And so I didn't really get it because I was just like a quiet kid or whatever, and people don't really get to see or hear from me much, so they're just excited to see me. But I think as far as like those types of comments, I think my mom has like more so gotten the brunt of it.
That's actually a great point. Because now that you say that, I definitely think it would be the same on my end. My parents got a lot of it because even now they'll bring things up, but I feel like that's just our parents kind of protecting us and standing up for us, you know, because it's like we're literally children. You know what I mean? But I think now when I go back to my family and I see my, you know, other family members and they see me, I think maybe some of those comments that they said about me, they're like, wow, you actually turned out to be a really like normal, humble human being. Like they will literally tell my parents, like, she is so humble because, you know, they know where you come from, right? And it's like, I could be this snobby ass person and it's just so not giving, not caring, not loving. And it's like, I don't care. Some of my family lives in a circumstance that most people could not live in. Let's just say that, right? And it's like, I don't care. Like, I'll be in the house. I don't care. And it's like, people see, you know, my family sees that. It's like, I literally don't care. But yeah, you're actually right. I think our parents they definitely have to protect us.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about just school and opportunities and the privilege that may be when growing up in the suburbs. So, do you think Black kids in the suburbs have more educational advances than those that may, you know, grow up in other parts of the world, or I guess, you know, not the suburbs?
What do you mean by educational advances? Just opportunities?
Yeah, because I think of like, I don't think every school offers like, you know, like the AP classes or, you know, those type of things, like college prep courses, things like that. That's what I think of. And obviously, let's be honest, that cuts your time down in college and the tuition you have to pay.
It literally did for me. Because of AP classes, and because I was on a scholarship, but because of AP classes, I literally finished my undergrad in 3 years. Because I pretty much was a semester ahead. I had 4 AP credits. I mean, typically you would take like 5 classes. Well, we had to because we were athletes. They would make us take 5 classes a semester just in case you failed one. Because to be eligible to play, you had to be passing 4 classes. So they would make you take 5. So basically, I came in with 4 AP credits. That basically put me a semester ahead. And then my last 2 semesters, so basically fall of my junior year and spring of my junior year, I took 6 classes so that I could just graduate in 3 years. But yeah, being in a school district growing up where I got good enough grades to be in honors and then to be in AP classes, and then take the AP test. And then luckily I went to a college that would take AP credits. It literally then put me ahead. Luckily, I was already ahead because I wasn't having to pay for college because I was on a basketball scholarship. But yeah, I was able to start life off with no debt. But even if I was paying, that was basically a whole semester that I wouldn't have had to pay for because of AP credits. So I think, and it's unfortunate that as far as like public schools, it literally depends on the district you live in, the quality education you're going to get. And it's crazy to think one day when you have children, if they're not going to go to private school, that you literally have to decide where you are buying a home based off of the school district.
It's crazy.
So, because that literally can make or break your child. I mean,
absolutely.
Nowadays, I don't know, because what kind of education your child's going to get. But
No, it's scary out here.
we
right
might
now.
have to be teaching our kids stuff at home
No, literally.
based off of what they're doing with the Department of Education.
No, literally.
But yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. Because even when you think about just, when I think of my friends, because I went to private school for middle school. And so when I think of my friends, even just my private school friends versus my public school friends, because I decided at high school, I was like, I want to be around more diversity. So I decided to do public for high school versus continue to stay private. But all my friends in private school, they all went to like the UCLA's, Stanford, things like that, because it's like, they went to private school most of their life, so they were already ahead, and obviously they had the AP course and things like that.
Yeah.
And it just made me think, and like when I started thinking back with like comparing my friends, it's just like there are definitely educational advances, but also, I mean, their parents could afford private school,
Yeah.
K through 12. When you
Yeah,
add that
that's crazy.
up,
Jesus.
and most of them, these aren't single children. These are children that have 2, 3, and 4 siblings,
Yeah.
and they all went through private school, K through 12. That is insane.
Oof.
It paid off. I mean, they're all doing very well. But yeah, crazy. Literally insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much is... I only know how much private school costed in New York because I'm thinking about the little private schools that were around my school
Yeah.
in the Bronx, and the tuition was the same as going to our college.
Yeah.
Like $55,000 a year. And these little kids are getting picked up by their drivers for $55,000 a year. That's New York City though.
Yeah.
But still, like, how much is private school?
Bro, it was back then. I remember it was between, of course it would go up the older you get, but back then it was anywhere between like 20 to 25K. And that was per
K
year.
through 12?
Yeah.
Who is paying that? Yeah, no.
Per child.
Who is paying that?
Listen, it was crazy. And I was like, wow. Yeah, no. I don't know. It was different back then.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's giving public school education.
Yeah.
Sorry. We'll try and find the best school district.
No,
'cause
literally.
what?
Literally.
Well, child, maybe not in Texas, because they ain't going to be teaching them that slavery never happened.
No, like the education, I'm just like, what is really going on right now? I don't even know what's safe. Like,
They're going to
what
be
is
calling
safe?
the slaves like, they were servants that were paid a fair wage.
Right, like, huh? What are you talking about?
They were farmers picking cotton. That's probably the education
Literally,
they're
like,
gonna get
it's
now.
actually scary. Like, it's not even like we can joke about it, but at this point, the safest bet is homeschool. It really is homeschool.
It is.
But thinking about that, it's like, child, I don't know if I have the patience for that. I don't think I have the patience for that. Have you ever felt guilty about the opportunities that you had growing up compared to others?
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes when you talk about things that were normal for you, you feel like you're bragging. Even to this day, I feel like that.
I feel the same way. Even now, like depending on who I'm talking to, there's certain things like I just will not try to bring up because you don't want anyone to feel less than.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep, I feel the same exact way.
Do you think growing up in the suburbs prepared you for the real world, or did it create a false sense of security?
Ooh, I don't know about false sense of security, but I think it prepared me for the real world because growing up, a lot of times I was the only black person in the room. And now when I log on every day and I'm on these calls, I'm the only black person on the screen, on the Brady Bunch screen. So it prepared me for that, for sure. So, and navigating white spaces. So it definitely prepared me for that. I've talked about this before, but I just feel blessed that I work at a company where people are a little younger, and I work at a hip company, so I can kind of, and Gen Z slang is basically African American vernacular these days.
Let's talk about
it. Me working at a trendy company, I think it's a little bit easier to navigate because everybody's mostly in their 30s and they're with the social media times and all that. So I don't have to code switch as much. Like I was literally in a Teams chat after the Super Bowl. Actually, no, I logged onto a call the day after the Super Bowl and I was maybe like 2 minutes late. And I log on and they're talking about the Kendrick Lamar Drake beef because it was right after the Super Bowl.
I'm like, oh, y'all know about this?
Right. And then it was like, then I was like trying to drop little, little gems to see like how in depth they understood the beef and just like all of the symbolism of like Kendrick's performance, because that's tricky to talk about at work because he was making statements symbolically. Right. Yeah. But I think growing up in the suburbs definitely prepared me to be the only Black person in the room. Yeah. Growing up. I mean, in corporate America.
Yeah, I definitely think it's prepared me a lot for corporate America, for sure. Not everyone can adapt in corporate America, which is why I think not a lot of people can get into it. No. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because sometimes I think, now this is like a side note question I'm going to ask you. Do you ever feel like when you are a Black person working in corporate America, you're kind of automatically the personality hire?
No, because I don't have a big personality. So, easy question. No. I mean, I think I have a good personality, and I do think, what I will say is I do think my personality is a huge part of why I got hired, only because at our company, it's not, I don't want to say it's not very corporate, but where I work is everybody is nice. Everybody gets along, The whole brand is just very joyous and whatever. So, and body positive and all of that. So people that like to be like corporate and mean and honestly be like corporate bullies, like people don't realize your personality is at certain companies is a huge, honestly, most places is a huge part of why you get like being a cultural fit. True. And so I think that probably contributed to why I got hired, because my personality, regardless of how big or whatever, was a cultural fit. Yeah. So that, but not like personality. I wouldn't call it personality hire, honestly, because I would say as far as like the soft skill questions in my interview or personality questions, I remember one of them specifically being, what would you say your superpower is? And I think I said to them what my mom always tells me, like calm is my superpower. And that like in stressful situations or whatever, I can remain, not fly off the handle or whatever. Yeah. So I didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Right. And so, yeah, I think people ask questions like that in interviews for a reason. True. Because at the end of the day, you're on a team. And especially if you're a manager, they know the personalities of the people that you're going to be managing. And like now that I'm hired, the person that I'm managing needs somebody who is very steady, So I do think personality plays into hiring. I don't think I've ever been the personality hire, though, because I don't think I'm never like the loudest person in the room or anything like that. So
I think I asked that because I think with some of my friends, they're definitely the personality hires. Because, I think as being Black and millennial Gen Z in corporate America, we do bring the vibes, or we bring the fun, or, we bring the funny stories, or it's like, what did you do this weekend? And they're just like so into what you did this weekend. Cause like our weekends can be crazy. It's like, yeah, we're very corporate 9 to 5, but catch us like 9 after, or 5 p.m. after, like we're totally different people. So that's why I asked that, because I definitely think sometimes it's like, yeah, we bring the vibes.
Yeah. No, that is true. And honestly, regardless of this country, like a lot of people love Black people. So
for sure.
On that note, I think that's a wrap for Suburban Black Girl, episode 19.
Almost at 20, guys.
Oh my God, what are we going to talk about for 20? That's a milestone.
I know, right?
Most podcasts don't even make it to this far.
Right.
We've made it.
We're dedicated.
So if you listen to all 19 episodes, appreciate you.
No, like genuinely, sincerely.
And please leave a comment if you've actually, you've been tuned in with us this whole time.
No, that's real love.
Exactly. And if you actually made it to the end of this video to hear this, end of this episode to hear this request, then you're really a real one. So Anyway, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.